Back to the channel if you're seeing me for the first time. And on this channel I talk about my life here in London, having been asked by some of my subscribers who have now moved to London on what process they should follow to look for a rental property. So I decided that, well, since I had gotten this question like a couple of times, I might as well just do a video for it because maybe someone may be needing it. But before I do that, I just want to thank all of you who are subscribed to my channel. The 250 of you do make me happy, and thank you for sharing my content. I do see the love. And for those who are not subscribed to my channel, please help out a sister here. I'm on my road to 300 subscribers. It would really mean the most, and it would push my videos. So the first thing to consider, or a few things that we need to lay down before you even go out and start looking for a property, to know what budget you're working with. I would say a very comfortable budget to work with is about £800 to £1,000. It all depends with how much you earn, so it's all up to you. If you can even get this cost a little bit lower, that is even amazing. So, and then the next thing that I think you should also consider before you even start looking for a house is, when you're looking for houses, this need to be very close to transport links, and then you need to know what commute time you're comfortable with. If you're someone who works a job that you can do remotely and you do not need to go to the office every day, I feel like you shouldn't really stay very close to Central. Now let's get right into the next thing on how to actually go about doing the property search. It's divided into 4: North London, South London, East London, and then West London. I live in West London. It's a very chilled area. I would say it's quite conservative and very quiet. I enjoy the neighborhood, but I've also gotten to realize that this side of London seems to be a little bit much more expensive. So if you are on a budget, I would say consider looking for properties around East London. And it is also said that in East London there are so many young professionals there, like so many diverse cultures there. So because it is much closer to the financial district. When it comes to North London, I couldn't find much about the area. All I found was there's a very large Turkish community there, and there are also so many, and some people were artists. And then when I looked into South London, to be honest, there wasn't much about the place. It was just written that South London is the south of London. How do you now go about knowing how a neighborhood is, like the vibe of a neighborhood, so to speak, in like the urban terms? So there are a few things you can do. I'll leave out some links below for you to maybe have a look. So I know if you look on Spare Room and say where to live, it can also show you some filters on that you can use to filter out maybe places that have got that are family friendly, a certain type of groups or particular interests. The other website that you also need to see maybe which areas have crime, and to understand how the neighborhood is, I would suggest areas, a website called Met Police. It can give you a highlight or a sense of the crimes that are committed in that particular neighborhood, that have been committed in that particular neighborhood, because I can't generalize to say maybe there's a high crime rate in this part of London and then say now you have decided maybe which area maybe would do for you, which area you'd want to go. Now go on to which apps you then use. So there are the main 2 big ones are Zoopla and Rightmove. So on this property, so you can download the app version, or you can even use like the web version. You can filter out maybe to have a place that has got bills included, or if you do not include the bills, you would then need to factor into your rental that there will be some extra add-ons. There's a new one that I found which is called Move Bubble. And it looks like, so this new app, it also does get into detail also to tell you how the area is like. If you do not mind sharing a house with strangers, here you can find cheaper properties and be lucky and find good housemates. So that's why you then need to maybe look for housemates with particular interest. Now the next point is, how do you calculate the cost of your rent? So this is something maybe to just look out for. it may be something maybe other people may not struggle with, but when you're looking at property prices, the ones that are quoted per week, you need to be careful with those. Do not just flat out multiply that number by 4, because that's not how they calculate the monthly rent here. So I suggest maybe you filter out with the rent per month. But however, if you do see a place where it says that maybe a rent is £200 per week, so what you need to do is multiply 200 by 52 and then divide whatever number you get by 12. So then now moving on to the next point, it's not just the rent you need to also consider. So when you are looking for a place and it's not all inclusive of the bills, you may have to add on maybe a few extra pounds on top, maybe another 100 to 200 pounds, just depending on maybe the place that you're looking for. If it's not all inclusive of your bills, and maybe if you're getting this place by yourself, your water bill, electricity bill, gas bill, Wi-Fi bill, Wi-Fi reconnection bill, and the big one is council tax, which is basically the tax that you pay to your council for the collection of rubbish, for the collection of any waste, and the cleaning of the particular place that you'll be living in. Also, do know if you are going to stay by yourself, the good thing is there's a discount that's applicable to you. So on your council tax, you can get a discount of about 25%. Your water could be about £10, your electricity and about another 10, your gas maybe another 10, and your Wi-Fi maybe 20. It just depends with you. And then council tax could be even 75 to like 100 and something pounds. The next thing that you also need to have is the deposit. So the deposit comes into two. There's like a deposit that you pay, like a holding deposit, for maybe say you found a property that you like and you've looked at the property and you are now saying maybe let's take this down from the advertising website like Zoopla or Rightmove. They may ask you to pay like 1 week worth of rent, and then now you need the security deposit, of course, for the property. This deposit, if you're dealing with an agent, it's then put into an escrow account so that it protects you. It's not given to your landlord directly, and it's just there sitting for you to get maybe at the end of the lease agreement if you do not break anything, or if there are no deductions to that particular deposit, that should then be refundable to you within 10 days of leaving the property. There are some documents that are required for you to go on before you give property. If you are a foreigner like me who did not maybe have any credit history or past credit data for them to evaluate if I should get the property, I had to get a reference letter from my employer saying that Sharlene does have a permanent job and this is how much she earns on a monthly basis. And you need, of course, your passport details, you need your Visa card details, and a simple way also they use to calculate your affordability. What they would say is the monthly rental income times 30 should be less than your yearly gross income. So what this means is, plainly, if I say maybe the property is about £1,000 a month, they'll multiply that by 30, and that's £30,000. So your salary should be more than £30,000. Before you sign your contract, I would suggest negotiate for a break clause within your contract. It's so hard to get out of a lease. I think it is possible for you to get out of a lease, but there will be some penalties to it. After 6 months, if you don't like the place, you are free to move and you can go and look for another place without giving any notice whatsoever. And also, in the event that maybe your circumstances changed and you don't want the place anymore, whilst you're still viewing the properties, do make sure to ask the agent so many questions if you have certain things that you also want to be included in the house, because they'll tend to listen to you and try to act on those. Unlike maybe for you to come back maybe when you've moved in and saying, oh, I need this changed, I need this changed. Your landlord may not be quick to change certain things. So I'll suggest that if you have certain things that you need to be added on, or sure to ask for those, and if it actually needs to be written in the contract as well, make sure that that amendment amendment is done. Next thing is, before you also move in, on the day of moving in rather, you can do an inventory check. Sometimes the agent may call you up and maybe you'll meet at the property and you all just look into the house and look at the report that they've provided to state the condition of the house and what things are going to be included in that particular house. So before you even start packing or before you even touch anything in that house, I would suggest that you check each and every single item in there. Make sure that you look at the condition of it and see if you agree with what the inventory report is saying, because you don't want to be in a position where they are saying that this is in a good condition and then you look at it, don't think that's true. Make sure that you take pictures and inform the agent and also the landlord or whoever you may be dealing with, so that they rectify that and you will not be liable for anything at the end of the lease. The point I would like to highlight is you need to also check what your responsibilities are within that particular contract and what the landlord's responsibilities are. Those need to be stated explicitly within the contract so that everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing. And in the event that there are certain repairs that need to be done and your landlord is not acting, to some extent you have grounds or basis to even get out of that particular lease if you feel like they are not fulfilling their obligations. So make sure that you read your contract, get it ahead of time, go through it. Well, nothing much to stress, but yeah, I would just say you need to read through it and know what your responsibilities are. The general things, of course, a tenant will be responsible of is the general cleaning and upkeep of the house. Lastly, and now you are now at the end of the whole long process, I would say enjoy your property, take care of it, clean it well, and automate your rental payments, hey? Because this is a good thing for you to also build your credit score as well. I think it makes you a good tenant if you're someone who always pays their rent on time. You will not have issues when you now also look for another apartment, because those are the things that they'll be looking at if you're someone who has had to make late rental payments and you do not want to be paying the extra penalties that come with just paying your rent late. And that is it from me, guys, today. And if you need to see a video that I did on like a detailed cost of living on other expenses, including other expenses as well, I'll link it somewhere here and you can also have a look. And do subscribe to the channel, share this video with someone who you think they need it, and I'll see you in the next one.